Hey, so this is a bit of a different video from what I usually do. Today I will be rewriting Act 2 of Epic. Rewriting is kind of a strong word because not really changing much. I'm just like reordering some things, but you'll see. Now, I'm not saying Act 2 is bad. I think it's perfectly fine, but I have seen a lot of criticisms of it that I kind of agree with, and I wanted to see if I could come up with a way to fix it without changing too much. Now, I'm not an author or anything, so take this with a bunch of salt. One thing I've seen people complain about in Act 2 is the Wisdom Saga. I think the Wisdom Saga is really good, but in context with the rest of Act 2, it is a little out of place. Obviously, it switches perspectives. It's the only saga that's not from the perspective of Odysseus. But not only that, it actually switches perspectives twice because the first three songs are from Telemachus's perspective, and then the last two songs are from Athena's perspective. Now, I don't have a problem with this switching perspectives, but I do think it is a little jarring. So my solution is to begin Act 2 with Legendary, Little Wolf, and We'll Be Fine instead of the Thunder Saga. This way, the switch in perspectives is less jarring because instead of going from one song to the next and changing perspectives, it's going from Act 1 to Act 2 and changing perspectives. So Act 2 would begin with Legendary, Little Wolf, and We'll Be Fine. And then after We'll Be Fine, Athena does the time dive like she does at the beginning of Love in Paradise. It goes through Keep Your Friends Close, Ruthlessness, Done For, and then instead of No Longer You, I think it should be Monster instead, because in the time dive, Athena like sees all the like obstacles and foes Odie has faced, and No Longer You doesn't really make sense there because Tiresias isn't an obstacle. And in the song Monster, Odysseus compares himself to the foes that he's faced. So it would make more sense to have that there instead of No Longer You. And then after that, you would get the entirety of the Thunder Saga, except it's not happening in real time. It's Athena seeing it from Odie's memories. That does sound a little weird, but it was the best thing I could think of. And then after Thunderbringer, Athena would be like, Odysseus, where did you go? And then you would get Love in Paradise and then God Games. Another complaint that people had is that God Games is too short, and I agree. What I don't agree with is some people saying that it should be multiple songs. I don't think it should be multiple songs. It should just be a really long song. Because I can't think of any musical where there are two songs back to back about the same thing. I can't really think of how to make it longer because in order to do that, you would have to completely rewrite the God's arguments. But yeah, definitely make God Games a bit longer. And then after God Games, of course, comes Not Sorry for Loving You, which I will be replacing with something else. Now, Not Sorry for Loving You is a very controversial song. I just want to say right away, I am very certain that the version of Calypso in Epic did not essay Odysseus. I do not believe Jorge would write a song like Not Sorry for Loving You if she did something like that. But anyway, the song itself, the intention is for you to understand why Calypso thinks that the things she did were okay. Obviously, they're not okay, but because of her situation, she doesn't see why the things that she did were wrong. However, the way the song is written makes it seem like you're supposed to forgive Calypso. I don't think that's the intention, but that's what the song makes it seem like. So my solution was to combine two cut songs involving Calypso. The song would start with this.
Calypso, my darling, I know that my attitude each year's been so jarring. I spent my time mad at you while you've been so charming. Suddenly my appetite has changed. I'm starving for more than just a meal tonight. So wait for me, precious, back where you have dreamt of us, and lay where your bed is. I'll be just a moment while I go and get ready. Don't get impatient, there's no time to spare. I think love is in the air.
And then after Odysseus does that, he runs away and then continues working on the raft. But then after that, Calypso follows him and discovers that he's been lying. And then we get this.
Once a day, for 7 years I waited here while you walked along the shoreline. me too.
And then after that, I imagine Odysseus would like respond to Calypso, like calling her out. Like even if she didn't assault him, he would still be traumatized. And one thing I don't like about Not Sorry for Loving You is that Odysseus's trauma from Calypso's island is never addressed. Like he constantly talks about everything else that's happened to him, but I feel like this would be a good opportunity to address the trauma of being trapped in one place for 7 years. So while I was making this video, I realized something. I was listening to the snippets of the cut songs, specifically from this compilation uploaded by Salago, and during that song that I was talking about, after Calypso's section, you hear a guitar come in.
Love me too.
So Odysseus was supposed to sing in that song, so I might be onto something. And then after Odysseus says all that, I imagine Calypso would be like, oh, it doesn't matter, someone came to get you anyway. And then obviously that would lead into Dangerous. And I think after that point, pretty much everything else is fine. The only thing I would change is 600 Strike. I think the song 600 Strike is perfectly fine, but I would definitely change what happens during the song. Of course, I'm referring to the Windbag jetpack. Now, I know Epic is inspired by anime and video games, and this is supposed to be like a video game boss fight moment. I get that. I love video games, but I still think it's really fucking stupid. Not just because it's really silly, but because it doesn't make sense for Odysseus to do something like that. Odysseus is known for being really cunning and being a strategist. He wouldn't just fly at Poseidon with a sword. That's why I love Duvebox's animatic for 600 Strike, because it shows Odysseus actually being smart. But yeah, everything else in Act 2 I think is fine. So that was my suggestion for how to fix some criticisms that people have for Act 2. Obviously, I'm not saying this is like the definitive way Act 2 should happen. I think it's great the way that it is. I want to see Epic be as great as it could possibly be. Because remember, right now it's just a concept album. So a lot could change between now and whenever it's fully realized. I mean, one of my favorite plays was Hades Town, and the concept album is extremely different from the final show. My favorite song from Hades Town is Chant, and that song isn't even in the concept album. So yeah, that was my thoughts, but like I said, I'm not a writer, so what do I know? But yeah, that was this video. See ya. And shameless plug, go follow my Blue Sky account, it's in the description.